The following is a YouTube-based audio production, brought to you by J.E. Realize. A while back I made a video on shows I never got to watch, but there's a similar set of series I found more examples of, shows that I only barely watched. I couldn't count any of these on the list because I watched at least one episode, but believe me, I wanted to. If you haven't watched the previous video, I have the card ready for you, but it's not necessary for you to understand this video. All you need to know is that I wanted to watch these shows, but for some reason or other, I only got through a few episodes. So how do I start this list? Miraculous Ladybug. Imagine my surprise when I find out after returning from Paris that this one kid show was gaining steam in the United States, and being utterly dismayed that I missed the chance to see it in its natural environment. So the show's not terribly arc-oriented. From the French series premiere episode and the American series premiere episode, I thought it was part Sailor Moon and part something else. Like there's a kid's show where people get possessed by spirits and the protagonists have to filter them out. You know, I think I should try making a show like that. But from watching the two episodes, I immediately dreaded two things. The repetitive episodic premise, which explains why I hate Phineas and Ferb to death now, and the confounding interactions between the two heroes, which explains why I hate telenovelas to death now. First off, I get why you don't want to reveal your secret identity. After all, I watched Jake and Rose. But they could have worked together so efficiently if all this faffing about was just cut out. But I guess that's just how things work in France. Dragon Ball Z. Okay, yes, I heard the show as a kid, but I never watched it. Except for the odd VHS tape and DVD. But considering how many episodes that series had, I got vertigo thinking about a binge. That and all the arcs. I remember only a few things, like the origin of Saiyaman. Though I want to know what blackmail was used against Fidel, I think I'll hold off on pursuing this show. Or Kai. But that's another story. Avatar, The Last Airbender. So many people are going to kill me, but why leave the house to put a gun to my head when you can pull out your death notes and kill me from the comfort of your home? But in all seriousness, I tried twice to get into watching the show, and I just couldn't do it. That and being spoiled from every possible angle made me sour my perception of it. I am not going to watch it, and if you give me a DVD box set, I will toss it to the ground and stomp on it in front of you. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make history. She-Ra, Princess of Power. It's interesting to see how many series created their own line of princesses for their own reference. Adventure Time had theirs, Star vs. the Forces of Evil had theirs, and so does this show. It's like they want to spike the Disney Princess franchise somehow. Respect. I first and last watched this show in the Fresno State dorms with this one guy I mentioned in an earlier video. You know, the one who got me asking questions about relationships. He would sometimes set up the lobby TV to stream some content for anyone to watch. One time, he showed the first 5 episodes of this show. I was a bit interested, but after showing the first minute of the 6th, just to say who his favorite princess was, he left. And I didn't have Netflix. I was hoping he would get back to the series, but the problem was, he did. Without me. And after having told him I was interested. Don't do kid shows, kids. Samurai Jack. And no, from what I heard about the final season, I'm not revisiting that show. Nice to know how many enemies I'm making, but hey, you can't make friends without making 500 million enemies. I was acquainted with the show as a kid. A bit. I never watched it live, but I had the first 3 episodes, bundled as the premiere movie, on VHS, and I was fairly interested in how it would turn out. Around the mid-2010s, I did watch up to episode 15 or 16, but then I got bored and moved on to other things. Maybe it was for the best. Code Lyoko. I generally forgot what this show was about. This featured kids going into a digital world to fight bad guys, but unlike Digimon, this show had 2D animation for the real world and 3D animation for the digital world. I have little other memories of this show. The one thing I definitely remember was the digital world avatar entering the real world, which may or may not be a spoiler, but you know what I realized? I've spent 6 bullet points talking about animated shows. I need to see what I can dig up from live action. Terra Nova. This was an early 2010 show from Fox. Essentially, in the mid-22nd century, everything is crowded and scarce, but a private venture set up a portal to a prehistoric world and built a civilization for a lucky few to start over. A family of 5, which is illegal to have in this future, managed to get on board and now have to adapt to this new life. I've only managed to watch the first few episodes of this show before I missed an episode, and due to that, I didn't go back to it. Shows how much having a DVR is valued these days. It wouldn't have mattered anyway, because they went for an uprising with dinosaur storyline as a last resort to keep the show alive. Jeez. Touch. Another Fox show that aired around the same time, this involving a very strange kid. Allegedly, he knows about every interaction that's going to go down due to some deep smarts, and as a result, he doesn't talk much. Or at all. And he can get pretty autistic when you mess with his stuff. Wait, maybe rewatching the show will get me to understand Onion a bit more. The reason I dropped this show was the same as the last, but at least it had a second season. And the feds. Jeez. No Ordinary Family. Let's move on to ABC for a bit. There was this show where this family took a vacation to the Amazon. Their plane crashed into a river, only they survived, then they went back home to discover they each have powers. I caught maybe the first 3 episodes of the series before I missed enough where watching any more would make me confused. I don't even know if they introduced any bad guys yet, but sadly, I may never be able to tell. Of course, a family of superheroes is far from an original topic, but maybe they had a way to make it good. I'm starting to realize this list is a bit lackluster. Time to change things up a bit. The Man in the High Castle, the Amazon original series. I never touched the book, but I do know it's supposed to be an alternate history classic. I got Amazon Prime as a college student for a reduced rate, and one day I learned Amazon Prime Video was a thing. That's when I tried going into it, and I got stumped. I couldn't decide what to watch. This is a bit of a problem with me and streaming services. They don't have channels to surf. They don't have schedules. All they have is a menu the size of a road map. I only tried The Man in the High Castle because I heard Cody from Alternate History Hub talk about it, and I've heard of the book. I made it through 5 episodes before getting bored of it. And it wasn't that I thought it was bad. I just thought of it as an energy sapper, especially with that X-ray function. I tried again last year, but I only watched 1 more episode before shelving it. Reminder, this was just weeks after they finished the series. I still have Prime, but I only use it to buy stuff for 1-day shipping, which I can't even get these days. Well, that's the list. I realized I had probably a few more I could add, but I shot myself in the foot by calling this a list of 10. Anyway, do the feedback thing. Like, comment, subscribe, or dislike. It's only fair considering how much I haven't watched. Follow me on my Twitter at JERealize. I will see you next time. And there will be a next time. Update from last video. The fever seemed to have waned, so... false alarm. Yeah, I don't think I've been infected anytime soon, but we'll see what happens. We'll all get through this together. It's the only way we can get through this. This concludes our YouTube-based audio production. I hope you enjoy, and I wish you farewell.